For more on this story, we can bring in our international affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Doug, great to see you as always. Keir Starmer's visit comes in the aftermath of Emmanuel Macron's visit. It comes on the eve of Volodymyr Zelensky's visit to the White House tomorrow. Does the British Prime Minister have a chance in persuading Donald Trump when it comes to Ukraine?
Look, just for the exercise of it, I will try to do sort of the both sides argument, which I hate to do usually, right? My basic belief is he doesn't stand a chance, only because Donald Trump always defaults back to Donald Trump at the end. So no amount of genuflecting or paying fealty or bromancing, as we saw with Emmanuel Macron, nothing really matters in the end. But look, benefit of the doubt time, right? Let's do the he does stand a chance argument first. First of all, he's not EU, right? He's UK. He's a special relationship, right? He is a man who just in the past week has done things that Trump likes. He slashed the UK's foreign aid spending, right? That's something, that is sort of marching a bit in lockstep with Trump. Surprising, you might say, from a Labour leader who has hardly been ideologically or politically aligned with the likes of MAGA and Donald Trump. But he's slashed his foreign aid spending. He's boosted the UK's defense spending, announcing that it's going to be going up to a higher level, not the 5% Trump would like, but by 2027 to a higher level. So in that score, he's doing some things. He's making a few noises politically that might seem to play in Trump's favor. Then there's also the sort of driving to the heart of who Trump is as a person. We saw Trump. He loves the royalty. He loves being regaled by royalty. He loves basking in the aura of royalty. So whether, Keir Starmer could always hold out that prospect of a soon state visit where he'd be
Dangle King Charles,
stuff. The tete-a-tete with King Charles. He'd see William, maybe even Kate. So all of that's sort of the deer caught in the headlights. He loves that stuff. You remember when he was with Macron at Bastille Day?
Oh, yes.
And how he was wowed and dazzled by the pomp of the tanks, and he wanted to do the same type of parade in Washington. So on the purely sort of transactional sort of nature of this visit, there's a lot Keir Starmer can offer, in that pomp and regal circumstance of the UK. And also a few things that he's doing on the foreign policy, on the government end. Now, here's the benefit of the non-benefit of the doubt, why he's not going to make it. Because at the end of the day, Keir Starmer is Keir Starmer. He is not someone, that Donald Trump is naturally sort of aligned with, not even to the degree that he is with Macron. However much Donald Trump has seemed to have blown off Macron and everything, all the messages that Macron brought earlier this week, at least when Macron's in his presence, they do have that sort of backslapping bromance style sort of rapport. Keir Starmer is a little stiffer, doesn't quite bring that. But what I suspect he's going to try to do is keep repeating the special relationship, play to that. But at the end of the day, the cold reality is Britain's security architecture since the end of World War II has really, really depended, almost more than anyone else, on the United States security umbrella. And at the end of the day, is this the man who is going to somehow be able to make the case to Donald Trump that needs to remain? Like I said, if I were betting on this, I would say I just don't think so. In fact, I really don't think so.
Doug, you mentioned this when you started about how Keir Starmer is the British Prime Minister. And yes, he's going to be representing Europe, but as the British Prime Minister, I mean, this comes in the wake of some pretty incendiary remarks from the U.S. president. I mean, just yesterday he said that the EU was formed to screw the United States. So how is Europe going to grapple with all of this?
Well, very, very, with much difficulty. There's grappling, that's for sure. There's a lot of grappling going on. Keir Starmer himself is inviting European leaders to the UK over the weekend.
Sunday.
And that's going to be, Sunday. And that's going to be actually a prelude to an EU meeting, of course, which the UK is not formally a member of anymore, the following week. So there's grappling going on. Everyone is trying to bang their heads together, figure out what do we do now? How do we prevent Donald Trump from basically handing over the house and the kitchen sink to Vladimir Putin, and in the case of a so-called victory in this whole thing. What are they doing? The European, Trump, you're absolutely right, basically said that the European Union was created to screw, as you said, Europe. And, this isn't just Donald Trump talking off the cuff. He does talk off the cuff, but it really goes to the heart of what he believes. Everyone's trying to spin this as a way, well, at the end of the day, there are ways if we could persuade Donald Trump to ensure that Europe has security guarantees. He said clearly to his cabinet yesterday when asked about the prospect of security guarantees for Europe. No, we're not going to give them much of that. That's Europe's job. Europe's going to have to hold the can on the security guarantees. So it's not even me standing here having to speculate and guess what Trump's going to do. He's doing it. He's saying it himself. So he actually is very contemptuous of Europe. He sees Europe not as something that was created in common cause with the United States, the European Union, the transatlantic unity, sharing common ideals. He sees it as a transactional adversary, someone out who's out to get them. Similarly, and this is where it becomes interesting, the same way Vladimir Putin in general views the West as some antagonistic entity that is bent on humiliating Russia, destroying Russia, and bringing Russia to its knees. It's almost as if Trump and his MAGA minions around him in the administration, they view Europe through a very similar optic as Putin himself views the West. So I would say he's contemptuous of Europe. He doesn't like Europe. He wants only the worst for Europe, and he's going to treat it like an adversary as far as he can go.
We'll see how this story develops and what comes out of that meeting later on today with Keir Starmer, and of course tomorrow when Volodymyr Zelensky is at the White House. Thank you very much. That's a big one. Thank you very much for that, Douglas Herbert there.